Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Director Debut. I'm your host, Min Hang, and what we're going to be talking about today is the patterns that I've noticed in the movie Interstellar. And the thing that I've kind of realized about a lot of movies that we watch is that sometimes we don't even notice certain patterns within certain movies. And the reason why this is occurring is because we have not registered in our brain that it is of importance to us, right? So if you're watching a pretty crappy movie, there's a tendency for you to be like, okay, this movie's not important. Or maybe you're watching a very boring scene and you're like, okay, I can kind of let this scene pass. And yeah, so let's get to the patterns that I've noticed in Interstellar. So if you look at this very first shot of this scene, you look at this grandpa and you kind of hear this background noise, this very kind of cool sound effect of the car kind of rolling. Now, we don't know actually for sure if he's actually looking at some car actually rolling. We don't even know if this scene is like even part of the scene, right? Maybe the director told him to look at some bird in the sky and it wasn't actually a bird. Or maybe the director was like, okay, there's a dust storm coming, and this was actually a scene from the dust storm. We don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes. So what am I actually trying to tell you here? We don't know what the director is thinking. We don't know the actual intention of the director. But your job as a filmmaker is to basically get a lot of shots and hopefully align all those shots to allow it to make sense, right? So when you're making a movie, especially if you're very low budget, you want to get a lot of shots, get a lot of different shots, so when you're cutting it together, you have enough shots to hopefully create some kind of realistic narrative that the audience can follow. Sometimes the shot that you're gonna get isn't actually the shot that it was intended for, but if it can help you get along with the narrative, you're okay. So that's what I learned in this very brief 3-second grandpa shot. So let's get to the next shot. Now, in this shot, what you want to do is that you want to study the behavioral cues of the actors. You want to study as to what it actually is, and the context of it is a family dynamic within the scene. So if you look at Murph, she has these very big eyes. Basically kind of means that she likes the approval from her daddy. And then the brother is like, oh my goodness, this is so lame, why is she so weird or whatever, right? So this is kind of a family dynamic, of kind of mentalized version of a typical family. So you want to notice the behavioral cues of what they're displaying, and notice how they casted. Notice that. Notice the certain people that they casted that they thought would fit into the role. What a very wonderful thing, because these two people are not very known actors until Interstellar came out. So the way they casted was very spot on, if you really think about it. It really displays what a family relationship is.
Find the gear, dumbass. Shut it! What'd you do, Murph?
What's going on, Murph?
Why did you and Mom name me after something that's bad?
Well, we didn't.
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law doesn't mean that something bad will happen. What it means is that whatever can happen will happen, and that sounded just fine with us.
So if you're watching the scene, you're probably like, oh my goodness, this is foreshadowing. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You could definitely say it that way. That's not really the definite pattern that I want you guys to notice. I want you guys to notice things that are a little more subtle. So Murph kind of assumed her name in a very negative light. And the dad actually used that negative subtlety and reframed her name in a very positive light. So that's very subtle, if you guys really think about it. And this kind of allows you to kind of predict the behaviors that the actor is going to do, predict the behaviors that the actress is going to do, what kind of decisions are they going to make based on the way they view their own reality. And this is something that you guys want to do with your own actors. If you have actors of your own, you want to kind of solidify certain behaviors. You want to kind of solidify a personality. What kind of personality types are going to create certain behaviors? And if it's not kind of streamlined through, then you have very incongruent behaviors that the audience may notice. So beware. So for this scene here, I want you guys to understand as to how you would recreate this exact scene in a very practical manner. How would you get a lower angle? How would you get the truck? How would you get a close-up? How would you get this wide angle? Is that CGI right there? What is it? How would you get a truck going through the cornfields? How would you do that? Is a person actually driving in there, or is it just them? How would you get those glares on the freaking car? Are you waiting for a certain day for that to happen? What's happening here? How would you get that kind of angle? Is there a drone following behind them? Is there another plane following behind them? How would you do that? And that is basically all the things that you want to pay attention to. How would you recreate that scene if you had that budget, or if you had a lower budget? How would you recreate it in a very practical manner that is realistic, enticing, and the music emphasizes as to what you actually want to do? Look at that shot right there. Is that real? Is that like some dude that's just really good at driving? Like, what is it? What is it? That's just questions that you should be asking yourself on a constant basis.
Don't stop. Dad. Go.
So in this shot, kind of noticed the dust particles actually. Are those real? Is that like visual effects, or is that them actually stopping the car that hard and them filming it? You never know. You never know. CGI, is it? So right here is kind of a father-daughter emphasis. In the interviews of Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan about Interstellar, they really wanted to emphasize being a father.
Nicely done.
How long do you think it's been up there?
Barely missing control.
This is kind of very odd scene, but I want you guys to notice the personification.
Why'd it come down so low?
I don't know. Either the sun cooked its brain, or it was looking for something.
What?
A large flat blade. Or maybe some kind of signal? I don't know.
What are you gonna do with it?
I'm gonna give it something socially responsible to do. Like drive a combine.
Can't we just let it go? It wasn't hurting anybody.
This thing needs to learn how to adapt, Murph. Like the rest of us. Tell him, Murph. Make a mistake. Make
him stay, Murph. Make him stay, Murph. Don't let me leave, Murph. Don't let me leave, Murph. No! 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 No!
It was you. You were my ghost.
So, if you look at this scene here, what you're gonna notice is that there's a lot of emotion that's actually going on. And I could just say that, oh, it's just emotion, but it's really not just emotion. I could just say it's just acting, but it's really not just acting. There's a definition for empathy. And empathy's definition is to share feelings, but also to understand feelings, right? So what the director is doing is that he's creating a lot of freaking empathy. Number one, there's a lot of emotion that's actually going on, but there's actually a context to
Make
it.
him stay, Murph.
And whether that context resonates with us, that emotion starts to get a little more intrusive in how we feel. And Christopher Nolan, Jonathan Nolan are amazing at that. So if you're trying to make a dramatic film or something, the emotions that they're able to create in their movies is so phenomenal. It's just crazy. But in a lot of amateur films, what I'm seeing is that they have the emotions. They have the cool emotions, even though it's not as best as it could be. But they have the emotions, but they don't have the context to the emotion. They don't have the narrative that fulfills those emotions. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of director debut. If you guys are figuring out how to find the two videos, it's going to be in the link in the description, so check those out. And leave a like, comment for your next little movie that you want to see. Start being more aware. That's kind of my main intention when kind of putting this out. Start being more aware of movies and your own movie.
What the hell is they? And just why they want to help us, huh?